Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Liat urgently in need of millions of dollars, our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, March 11th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Shareholder governments of the cash-strapped regional airline Liat are meeting in Barbados Monday evening to discuss the financial crisis facing the Antigua-based airline. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines says the urgent meeting, to be attended by the airline's management and trade union representatives, had been mandated by Liat shareholders at a meeting held over the weekend. He says the three leaders of the main unions, including the Leeward Islands Airline Pilots Association, LIALPA, will be present. The Barbados meeting comes as Caribbean countries are being asked to contribute a total of $5.4 million in emergency funding needed to keep the airline in the sky. At the same time, 11 destinations have been given until Friday, March 15th to respond to the airline's Minimal Revenue Guarantee (MRG) proposals. Barbados, which has the 116 weekly departures, the highest by Liat, is being asked to contribute US $1.614 million, while Antigua and Barbuda, which has 69 departures, will contribute $960,310 US. Dominica is being asked to contribute $347,938 US in light of its 25 weekly flights. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with 52 departures per week, will contribute $723,711 US, while Grenada, which has 35 Liat departures per week, is being asked to contribute $487,113 US.
Good corporate governance demands that the decisions are taken in Liat, even though you will give information to your colleagues and you have an obligation to, because of the regional nature of this service, to the OECS authority and also to CARICOM. But we have to observe good corporate governance. And I only talking after we have gone through that particular structure. One prime minister said that even Ralph is fed up with Liat. I am not. I'm fed up with sovereign governments who failed and or refused to contribute to the funding of this vital regional service. I am fed up too with some other stakeholders who cling to legacies, whether at the workplace, in management or procurement. I helped to save Liat and regional air transportation from Alan Stanford when others were in bed fully with him. So I'm not fed up with Liat. But further significant changes in and of it are on the immediate horizon. There are three possible paths for Liat: an orderly dissolution and bankruptcy, a disorderly dissolution and disruptive bankruptcy, or a sensible restructuring. The latter is what's in Vincent.
Gonsalves urged that CARICOM leaders be more circumspect in addressing the business of a company which has its own structure of corporate governance.
Further unwise outbursts would scare Liat's lessors, disturb the air transport regulators, create uncertainty among staff and alarm in the public, contribute to disorderliness in the company, agitate creditors to hustle for payment of debts owed to them by Liat, prompt passengers to seek refunds, and push air travelers to seek other travel options or cancel travel altogether. Let us therefore be mature in addressing a serious challenge before us.
Meantime, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says plans to restructure the regional airline must be implemented immediately. And he made a special appeal to LIAT pilots and their unions not to frustrate the restructuring efforts. Following the weekend meeting, Brown says it's imperative that a Caribbean Development Bank report to restructure the Antigua-based airline take effect immediately. We get more in this ABS News report.
A major platform of the meeting was a Caribbean Development Bank report that is recommending a major restructuring of the airline. Speaking earlier today, Prime Minister Brown, in no uncertain terms, declared the time has come. LIAT, he says, is at a crossroads, and the restructuring plan must be implemented as an absolute imperative. He indicated that the plan will impact all levels of the operations of LIAT, from management, the pilots, and the staff. The sacrifice they will have to undergo will be significant, Prime Minister Brown says. One of the areas, he said, was the reduction in remuneration for pilots and management. Shareholder governments will have a major role to play. Prime Minister Brown says the plan calls for shared benefits and shared burdens on their part. Just last month, the CDB expressed grave concern about the slow pace of the implementation of the restructuring plan. President Warren Smith, in a piece in Barbados Today, says he was disappointed that shareholder governments are yet to take on the recommendations. He stressed that airlift was critical to intra-regional travel, and there needs to be more urgency in addressing the airline's issues. Prime Minister Brown, meantime, was particularly pointed on his comments about the pilots, who have been consistent with their demands on the airline. He's urging that they too must realize that they will have to shoulder a major part of the burden if LIAT is to survive.
Cayman Airways has suspended the use of its new Boeing 737 MAX Air aircraft following Sunday's fatal crash of one of that same type of plane operated by Ethiopian Airlines. It was the second fatality involving that plane model in less than 6 months. The Ethiopia Airlines crash occurred shortly after takeoff from the Addis Ababa airport, and all 157 people on board perished. President and CEO of Cayman Airways, Fabian Worms, said in a statement Sunday evening, hours after the crash, that the airline stands by its commitment to putting the safety of passengers and crew first by maintaining complete and undoubtedly safe operations. He said Cayman Airways is working with Boeing Corporation and the Civil Aviation Authority of the Cayman Islands to monitor investigations into the Ethiopian Airlines flight. Cayman Airways launched its route to Denver, Colorado on March 2nd aboard the Boeing MAX 8 aircraft. The suspension of its two planes is expected to affect flight schedules in the coming days. Worms sought to give the assurance that all prudent and necessary actions required for the safe operation of Cayman Airways MAX 8 planes will be taken before the aircraft are returned to service. Meantime, Trinidad and Tobago's Caribbean Airlines CAO, which is in the process of acquiring the same model for its fleet, says it will base its decision to purchase the planes on the relevant reports and safety recommendations. CAO currently operates Boeing 737-800 next-generation aircraft. Speaking on CNC3's Morning Brew program on Monday, Communications Manager Dion Lagore said CAO will take all factors into consideration when acquiring new aircraft.
All procedural elements, all training elements that are necessary to comply with the prescribed instructions of Boeing, with the prescribed instructions of the FAA, will be taken into full consideration and applied before any aircraft is brought into service.
CAO says it stands by its commitment to put the safety of its passengers, crew and operations first. In other aviation developments, CAO cancelled all flights to Venezuela on Monday following an electricity blackout in the South American country. A statement from the airline said it took the decision because there was no electricity or backup power supply at the Simon Bolivar International Airport. It said affected passengers on its flights BW300 that travels from Trinidad to Venezuela and BW301 from Venezuela to Trinidad will be accommodated on other services. The airline gave no indication how long the flight disruptions would last. Venezuela also suspended schools and closed businesses on Monday as a result of the blackout that began on Thursday last week. President Nicolas Maduro blamed an international cyber attack for the blackout. A non-governmental organization in Guyana, the Civil Society Forum, CSF, on Monday called on President David Granger to name a date for fresh regional and general elections following the collapse of the coalition government last December. The CSF, which includes religious, human rights, private sector, and at least one trade union, said in a statement that the failure by President Granger to name a date has increased the probability that the government will be accused of being illegal after March 21st. On December 21st last year, opposition leader Bart Jagdeo successfully moved a motion of no confidence against the government, and under the Guyana Constitution, fresh elections must be held no later than 90 days after the passage of such a motion, unless the National Assembly approves an extension. But the Guyana Elections Commission, GCOM, has said it cannot hold credible elections by that time and has proposed a date in July. In its statement, the CSF urged both President Granger and opposition leader Bart Jagdeo to recognize their respective responsibilities, to honor the Constitution and uphold the law, and to hold themselves accountable for finding a solution to the growing crisis which endangers democracy in Guyana. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Jamaica's Chief Justice on a mission to bring the judiciary up to global standards. Stay with us.
Ensure that your seatbelts are now securely fastened. All tray tables placed in the upright above position.
What's up, guys? It's Binary is coming back at you. A little bit about the song Booty Bounce. It's available on all streaming platforms. The DJ, We're Nasty, who helped me produce it, is one of a kind. We done made a bunch of hits, but specifically this one strikes me because we did a little bit of vibing out in the studio and it came out to be a huge banger.
Hussein, I run the town. Wait, came in, lit, button, switch. Your chick, on my chick, kissing lips. Wait, they mad, I got swag. Came through dripping with the bag.
Don't jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up, it's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy David Doe.
Hi, I'm Elmay.
This is Buju Banton and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019. Featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elmay. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.com.
Welcome back. Jamaica's Chief Justice Brian Sykes has promised the nation that the courts will this year begin delivering several improvements that will see the island matching global standards in a few years. In a national address on Sunday evening, he pledged that the country would have excellent courts resting on the three pillars of trial and hearing date certainty, efficiency, and a culture of service among staff and judges. Sykes, who was appointed last year, said his vision is for Jamaica's judiciary to be the best in the Caribbean region in 3 years and among the best in the world in 6 years, beginning March 1st.
I give my commitment to put in place measures so that by December 31, 2019, all outstanding judgments in the Supreme Court will be delivered. As of 2020, a judgment should be delivered within 90 days, and in exceptional cases, 180 days following completion of the case. Courts will start on time, and the trial time productively utilized. All stakeholders, judges, court staff, witnesses, jurors, attorneys at law, police officers, and others, despite the many challenges they face, must resolve to come to court to assist in the administration of justice.
Staying in Jamaica, the government continues to suggest that crime and violence can only be brought under control at this time with the use of states of emergency. Prime Minister Andrew Holness argued on Sunday that the measure allowed for the strategic deployment of law enforcement to deal with criminal gangs. He said that without these special interventions, the Jamaica Constabulary Force is limited in its ability to conduct thorough investigations leading to convictions.
To now be split between investigation and maintaining public order. We don't have the resources as it stands right now to do both and do them effectively, in addition to all the other things that the police is called upon to do, which is why we use the strategy of the states of public emergency to create a period of time in which the police could increase their investigations and increase their convictions, and thereby send a strong message to the criminals that if they commit a crime, they will be caught. There is no impunity.
In January last year, the government imposed a state of public emergency in the western parish of St. James. There were also states of emergency in St. Catherine North and sections of the corporate area later in 2018. But all three came to an end earlier this year after the parliamentary opposition refused to continue supporting extensions of the measures. Regional public health officials want more men to get tested for HIV, and countries say they are taking no chances against dengue fever. We get the details in this week's Newsline Health.
Recent news that an HIV-positive man in London has been functionally cured of the disease has been welcomed by regional and international health officials. In the Caribbean, public health officials say they are well on the way to achieving the 90-90-90 target, an ambitious goal for treatment for all and ultimately ending the AIDS epidemic. But they say while the Caribbean is making progress in reducing the spread of HIV, not enough men are getting tested. Trinidad and Tobago's Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh lamented the fact at the PANCAP meeting of National AIDS Program Managers and key partners in Port of Spain on Monday.
Our men need to be led to be well, and we are going to have to refocus on getting men's clinics because women see no problem in getting tested. Women are much more responsible. However, as per UNAIDS serial global progress reports, including those in 2018, we have to reach these key population in their community settings.
The Caribbean remains on alert for dengue fever. Reported dengue deaths in Martinique have prompted neighboring St. Lucia to warn its citizens to take every precaution against the mosquito-borne illness, although officials say they have not seen an increase in dengue cases. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Merlene Frederick James says most of the population is under 30 years old and they have not been exposed to the disease. Meanwhile, in the Bahamas, the Red Cross has launched a Zika prevention project which aims to raise awareness of all mosquito-borne diseases.
We are currently in 5 communities working. We have been doing prevention education with regard to the Zika, and to inform persons. We've been doing cleanups in a number of the communities, and we want persons to, to take this seriously. Some people, they hear about it, but until it impacts them, they don't feel alerted by it.
March 14th will be observed as World Kidney Day. An estimated 850 million people worldwide suffer from various kidney diseases. This year's theme is Kidney Health for Everyone, Everywhere. Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Health.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, the West Indies' failure to adjust, blamed for England sweeping the T20 series. We'll be right back.
So in what had to be the greatest example of a slow news week, the media was reporting that a rat native to Australia has apparently become extinct. And the reason for the extinction is, wait for it, climate change. Living on a small northern island near the Great Barrier Reef, the rat, known as the Bramble Cay melomys, has been moved from the Australian government's endangered list to the extinct list, making it the first known mammal, according to the report, to be killed off by climate change.
I was able to run the streets, do what I wanted to do. Get away from the abuse. Because no matter what, abuse is abuse, even verbal abuse.
That's true.
And my mom was angry.
But then you became like the protector then of your sisters and brothers.
Yes.
So what did you do to take care of them?
Only thing I could do is do the best I can, raise those kids like they're my own. The abuse from my father made me angry. It made me hate people.
England took just 2 hours to dispose of West Indies, beating the Caribbean side by 8 wickets in the third T20 International at Warner Park, St. Kitts on Sunday to complete a whitewash of the world champions. For the second straight match, West Indies capitulated meekly, this time for 71 of 13 overs, their third lowest T20 International total after choosing to bat first. The Windies batsmen showed a lack of discipline and only 4 players reached double figures. Opener John Campbell, captain Jason Holder and Nicholas Pooran all scored 11, and last man Obed McCoy got 10.
First ball, Shea Hope punch one to cover. A couple of decent shots. And then Hetmeyer fell.
Yeah, there's some talent in this Windies batting lineup, but in T20 so far they've not found the rhythm, not found the pace to go on a surface that hasn't been straightforward. Sometimes you just have to take that little bit of time. It's not something that batsmen in this day and age want to do. But every now and again, as we have done here in St. Kitts, you come on a pitch that just requires just a little bit of thought. The problem is you give this England bowling attack an inkling, you give them a sniff, and they just keep coming at you with the pace of Wood, the skill of Willie, and then you had Adil Rashid, who just doesn't seem to miss a mark, just the odd ball. A well-rounded attack, a well-balanced attack as well. Chris Jordan is probably one of the better fielders in the world. Joe Denley getting a chance early. Shows what he can do with his leg spin. Another excellent catch from Chris Jordan.
Batsmanship and shot selections being called into question by the Windies. The variations by England trumping their batting effort. Look at that brilliance. Johnny Bairstow behind the stumps, getting rid of Blackthwaite. There was a period when 10 runs were scored off 2 deliveries, and then the thought process by the bowlers, wonderful to watch. England, they had an opportunity to dismiss the Windies for a low score, and they did exactly that. An impeccable delivery by Adil Rashid to end the innings.
England, in reply, wasted little time in reaching their target of 63 balls, with opener Johnny Bairstow blasting 37 off 31 balls, striking 4 boundaries and a brace of 6s. He put on 28 with Alex Hales for the first wicket, before adding a further 32 for the second wicket with Joe Root, who ended on 4 not out.
Some of the highlights of England's run chase started with some imperious driving from Alex Hales, whipping one through the onside, then down the ground for a lovely 6, probably the shot of the game. Johnny Bairstow has had a good series, got into the act as well before Jason Holder came into the attack, pulled away for 4, and then pulling one straight down the throat of John Campbell, who took a good catch. Johnny Bairstow continued on his way, and England were just fearless in chasing a meager total. Batsmen just backing up the excellent work done with their bowlers. Shimon Hetmeyer hasn't had a good series in the field, dropping another catch. which allowed Bairstow to soul their own. .37 from 31 deliveries to Johnny Bairstow before Devendra Bishop removed him. But it was too little too late. It needed a miracle. And none was forthcoming as Owen Morgan thumped one down the ground and then hit the winning runs backward of square to end a very impressive T20 series for England.
Well, West Indies captain Jason Holder says losing the momentum was not the issue for his side. He says they simply could not adjust.
I don't think it's a drop in intensity, to be fair. You know, we just didn't bat well in these last two games. You know, we must give England credit as well. You know, they thought they bowled really well. They stuck to their plans. You know, they executed well. We just didn't respond well. I felt the wicket was a little slowish up front. We just didn't adjust.
The selectors retained the one-day squad for the T20s in order to further their World Cup preparations, but Holder says there is much room for improvement from the team.
I think when we're batting, you know, we've got to learn to adapt. You know, if the conditions aren't true in terms of the ball coming onto the bat, you know, we've got to adapt and, you know, set it up quite nicely for our middle to lower half to come into effect in the back half of the innings. I thought we bowled well. And, you know, it's just a case for us, you know, still working on our death bowling and our fielding. I just think once we touch upon our fielding and our death bowling, you know, we should be in more of a complete set.
Well, that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Tell our audience a bit about who is the Lemon Group and what are they about.
Sure.
And then you'll tell us about the Uruguay Group.
Sure. So the Lehman Group is a group of 14 countries that was formed in 2017 to broadcast an emerging consensus across party lines.
And they are calling for verifiable, free and fair elections too?
They are
as a way out? Is that their strategy?
Don't jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up, it's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy David Doe.
Hi, I'm Elme.
This is Buju Banton and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019, featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elme. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkittsmusicfestival.com.
Again, the major developments of this day: Barbados hosting an urgent LIAT shareholder meeting with the airline in a position of needing millions of dollars to stay in the air. And in sports, the West Indies' failure to adjust blamed for England sweeping the T20 series. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to canonnews.com. For more of our programming, log on to caribvision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.